Hey, it's Mike from BlindsOnline.com. Today I'd like to show you how to install your new 2-inch premium wood blind. When you unpack your blind, just take the cords and all the necessary hardware out of the box. Make sure that everything's there, your screws, your valance clips, your valance. The cords will be packaged inside the headrail, so just take them out. Get everything nice and clean and ready to go so that when you have your brackets ready, the blind will be ready for mounting. Now this particular blind that we're going to be putting up today is in the color mahogany. It's a 2-inch real wood blind, and the first installation that we're going to go through is how to mount the blind on the inside of the window frame. So place your blind aside for a few minutes and locate the mounting brackets. Okay, the mounting brackets are the metal brackets that have been packaged with the blind. These are universal brackets. What do I mean? Universal brackets meaning that they can be used for either an inside mount or outside mount. However, it is important to note that there is a left side and right side bracket. Okay, the left side bracket has the opening on the right hand side, and the right hand bracket has the opening on the left hand side. Alright, so your left and your right hand bracket. Once you have the brackets ready to go, and we're going to show you how to mount these as an inside mount first. Alright, the inside mount meaning inside the window frame, so we're going to actually be mounting the blind inside the frame. Locate the screws. The mounting screws also come with the blinds, and it'll always be a little bit easier if you have a screw gun handy just to put the screws in. If not, you can always put the screws in with a screwdriver. In this particular case, I'm going to set the bracket all the way back in the window casing. If you want to fully recess the blind, you're looking at about a 3.5-inch recess for the valance and everything to be mounted completely inside. But you can mount them with as little as 3/4 of an inch of space. Once you have the bracket in place, we're going to screw straight up into the window frame. Of course, we all make mistakes, even the shade guy. We're going to put that bracket up and screw straight up into the window frame. Let's try it one more time. Okay. All right, that bracket is pretty secure right now, but just as a little added security, we're going to put one more screw into that bracket just to hold it in place. And you can either put it straight up or into the side. It's really whatever you prefer. I like to have one up and one on the side just for a little stability. All right. We're going to do the same thing on the right hand side. We'll put the bracket all the way back in the window frame. In this case, we have about a 3.5-inch deep window frame, and we're going to put one screw, and then we're going to have one additional screw off to the side. Again, if you prefer 2 up, you can do 2 up. Okay, guess what? We have our brackets all mounted and ready to accept the blind. Now, the next step's very important because we don't want to put the blind in the brackets yet. If we put the blind in the brackets, we'll have trouble installing the valance without the valance clips installed. So make sure you have the blind facing forward, which means the cords will be facing forward, and install the valance clips onto the valance before you place the blind into the brackets. All you need to do is snap these right on. Just make sure that there's nothing in the way inside the rail when you're putting the brackets on. Make sure there's an opening there so that you're not interfering with any of the mechanisms. Okay, and once your valance clips are installed, you can bring the blind up to the brackets, and it's really simple. We're just going to place the blind right into the brackets, just like that. Okay, and look at that. Blind fits in there perfectly. We want to make sure we have an even amount of space on each side so we can shift a little left or right just so that the spacing is even. And then we're just going to close the doors. We're just going to close these little doors on the right side and left side. When you close the doors, you want to make sure you hear that click. Okay, there's a little tab on the bottom that snaps in, and it's important that that clicks in so the blind is secure. These blinds tend to be fairly heavy, so you want to make sure that that's very closed very tightly. Otherwise, there is a possibility the blind might pop out of the bracket, and we don't want that. So we're going to do the same thing on this side. Snap. We heard the snap. That means we're good. Your left hand cords are your tilter on this particular blind, and your right hand cords are your lift cords. So we'll release the lift cords by moving it toward the inside of the blind. You'll hear a little click. That'll release the cord lock, and the blind will come down. Alright, your tilter's on the left. Let's make sure everything's working properly before we do anything else. Looks great. Blind opens perfectly both ways. And the finishing touch would be installing the valance. Alright, so the valance also comes with the blind. We're going to take this valance, and there's really no right or wrong way, but I prefer to have the thick bead on the top of the blind. So when installing the valances, I like the thicker part facing upward. Okay, we're going to place that valance into the clips, just like so. All right, and then just push the bottom of the clip on to the valance, just like that. And that will complete the installation of an inside-mounted 2-inch wood blind. Now, let's say you decided you wanted to mount this blind on the outside of the window frame. Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm back again to show you how to install your 2-inch wood blind as an outside mount. Okay, we showed you how to mount it inside the window frame. Now, if you didn't have that window depth and you decided you wanted to mount it on the outside of the frame, we're going to use those same mounting brackets that I showed you earlier. Okay, and we have a choice. We're going to mount the brackets either directly to the window frame or the window molding. Okay, very simply, we're going to place the bracket right onto the molding like this. Okay, usually we have the end of the bracket flush with the end of the window molding like so, and then I would just drill 2 holes. Okay, I would take one on top and one on the bottom, one here and one here, mark it with a pencil, take the bracket off, pre-drill it, and then put your screws into those pre-drilled holes. That'll hold the bracket in place. You can do the exact same thing on the left-hand side. Okay? So once you have your 2 brackets mounted like so, it's a repeat of what we just did. You'll pick the blind up, you'll load it into the brackets, you'll close the doors. Again, remember to make sure you hear that click. Okay, that means the door is completely closed. And place your valance on. That'll be the last step of the installation. Now, if you choose to mount the blind up above the window molding, that's also an option. The installation procedure is very similar. However, we are going to ask you to order the optional spacer block. Okay, and the spacer block is a no-charge option at checkout that you can choose, and what that'll do is it'll actually push the bracket far enough away from the wall so that when your blind goes up and down, it's not rubbing against the molding. Okay, so if we chose that option and we want to mount it up above the window molding, we're just going to take those same brackets and we're going to mount them just up above the molding with that spacer block behind it like so. Okay, we're going to need some longer screws. You may have to go out to the hardware store for this one and get some 3-inch screws to go through the drywall and through the spacer and everything. And then we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. So no different aside from the fact that we're going to put a little spacer behind the bracket. Close the doors. Remember to listen for the click so we know the blind is completely enclosed in the brackets. Install your valance and you're finished. Alright, so it's really pretty simple. That's your 2-inch wood blind. If you have any additional questions on how to mount these blinds, you feel free to give me a call. I'm Mike from blindsonline.com, and thanks for watching.